train 50-year-old women who want to just stay in shape and continue that healthy lifestyle. I have 20-year-olds that are like, have me do anything and I'll do it. I've got people that come from like really bad injuries and just want to move, but move safely.
It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Chris Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
Welcome to Health in the Real World. I'm here today with Jocelyn Gebhardt. Jocelyn's a trainer and she was on the podcast. What's it been like? Maybe a year probably,
At least
right?
a year, yeah.
Yeah, it was so during mid-2020 when I think you were on last. So we were just talking a little bit about the pandemic and how it's changed the training as far as what you do. I think we should go this direction because I actually haven't talked to any other of my guests about it, about how it's changed and what's your direction going forward. So first, Jocelyn, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. I appreciate being back. It's always good to like reconnect with people.
Definitely.
That you've been on podcasts or just chatted with. So thank you.
Can you real quickly give the audience kind of a, like a 10 to 15 second introduction as far as who you are, what you do?
Yeah. So I'm based in Washington, D.C., and I am a personal trainer. I train both in person and I have a virtual business, mainly physical training. So I do offer meal plans and online programs, but by no means am I a nutritionist. But I train people from all, I like to say, walks of life, all ages, all backgrounds. And I found success in just creating clients that want to find the best version of themselves. And that's kind of the mantra when you train with me is like, let's figure out how to make you better in everyday life because it's so important. And I just always try to create a positive environment for my clients. And I've got a good base here in DC.
Nice. That's great. So making you better in everyday life. I like that. How has that changed as far as the tactics of how you get that done? You said you're online, like your business is online and in person, right?
Yeah. So I train clients in person. I also have clients that do online programs, like 4, 8, and 12-week programs. And I've got clients all throughout the US. And I check in with them weekly and that seems to work for them. Those are people that obviously I can't be with physically in a location because they're all over, but the face-to-face clients they're predominantly in like the Capitol Hill, DC area. So yeah.
Nice. And do you find do you have more, or maybe not more clients, but at least more capacity for clients now that you are doing virtual? Like I would imagine your weekly check-ins are just like, like 15 minutes, 30 minutes?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely, it's a catch-22, right? Like now we're in this, I don't want to say post-pandemic because we're not there yet, but this pandemic training world where some people do want to go virtual. So then it makes it easier because we were just talking about like taking the time to commute to your clients out. So some of those slots that may not have been back-to-back available, like I could put somebody at 5 and 6 because I don't have to go anywhere. Right. But then there's a potential to get into like that overtraining and overworking, and not just for clients that in everybody's everyday life, like work-life balance is key. So as a trainer, I want to help as many people as possible, but I also want to keep myself in mind.
Yeah. You are your number one client, right? You got to take care of yourself. But like you said, I mean, a year ago, I had like 7 or 8 clients tell me that they did not want to go back to in-person because they wanted to save on the commute, 45 minutes each way, hour and a half total. And, as a virtual trainer now and what you're doing, you're also saving time and you're able to get your workouts in, hopefully a little bit better.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I was going to say one thing. I've kind of gone into a hybrid model. This is pretty cool. I used to do all one-on-one training, and it was maybe 6 months before the pandemic started that I went into like a class-based model. And now I've sort of created a hybrid where I do the check-ins that you were talking about, like little 15 minutes as frequently as the client wants it, once a week, twice a week if they need it. Yeah. And then I just offer these classes at the same time. So everyone come to classes, keep coming to classes. And if you want a little bit of one-on-one time with me, schedule that time in and you can get a 15-minute block, and we can make sure we get your weightlifting routine or talk about nutrition, like you said, keep them on the right track, right?
Yeah. And that's so interesting because literally last weekend I was like working out on my own. It was a Saturday morning, and I haven't stepped in a gym myself to work out in a year and a half. Like I don't have any desire to go back. Like I've got what I need. I do movement every day. As long as I move my body in some capacity, I'm good. But I'm more working out on a Saturday morning, and I'm like, I think it would be pretty cool. Like this idea came to my head is like, do you want to work out with me? Like, and put it out there to the public. Like on a Saturday morning, do you want to come? Everybody that follows me on Instagram, you know, I get messages like, hey, you inspire me, or you know, your workouts. I see that you post workouts. And so this idea came over my head, like, why don't I just like put it out there and invite, hey, if you want to come work out, if you want to see the type of workout that I do, and you want to be a part of that, come out on Saturday morning. So it's almost like taps into that group fitness that you were talking about, like maybe not virtually, but in person, or if people don't feel comfortable doing in person, like doing that on a Saturday morning, like click the Zoom link and here I am in my living room, you know, and come join me.
If you're in your, if you're in your living room, you can just Zoom in, or you can meet at a gym. If you're doing a special event, you're going to meet at a gym in DC. Yeah. You can say, hey, if you're local, meet me here at this time. It could be like one of those pop-up tents, you know, that they do for the restaurants. And then you can work out with them, and then just set up a camera in the corner. So you have like, you could be part of Jocelyn's live studio audience, you know, maybe you have like 10 people show up, and then you have 20 people on Zoom, and that would be fun. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. It's super cool. And it's just like ideas like that maybe a year ago, we weren't as trainers thinking about. Like, I think that the virtual world has really like taken off, and it's a lot of people's business models have changed. And so it's just like, things like that are always in my head. And when I'm always talking to other trainers and people in the industry, I'm just like, what are you doing that seems to work, that people want, you know, because that's the ultimate goal. It's like, what are people asking for?
Right. So. I think it's great. I actually really, really like the fact that we're so virtual now, because I remember I started my business in 2006. So I've been like thinking in terms of like digital marketing. And when YouTube started, I was like, oh, this is cool. But for years, it's always been like, hey, you know, like 90% of the people who are going to come and see you live within 3 miles of your house. Mm-hmm. So your main, like you literally, your number one demographic is just people who live near you, near your gym. And it, you know, that can be good and bad. It can be good because you can literally walk up to their door and hand them a flyer. That's cool.
Right.
But on the other hand, you know, they might not have any interest. And especially like my training is very niche. It's like very unique. It's, you know, people who have had back pain, who want to work out, but they don't want to work out that hard because they don't want to aggravate the pain. They also want to correct the imbalances that led to the pain in the first place. Yeah. And so I'm like, well, how many people really want, who's looking for that within 3 miles? Yeah. And I finally realized like, it's cool. I can pull people from Florida and California and all these other states. And, and it's more interest based as opposed to location based, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's neat. Like when I look at my online community, I've got people in Colorado, in Texas, in New York, in Florida, like Virginia. I mean, it's so cool to see that like I can hit all of those people, and yet you're not tying yourself down to like a radius, right? Of like 3 mile radius around me. So when you do, but then it's like, you got to think about when you market or when you reach out, like it's a different, because you're not going based off of location. So then it's like, if you're trying to tap into the social media world. It's like, what hashtags do you use?
Right.
You know, all of that, which is a whole nother thing.
It's a
but
whole other podcast we're going.
yeah, right. But it's cool to be able there's so many people in this world and so many trainers that are good at what they do, that are able to influence and to like motivate people on a daily basis.
Yeah. And that's one thing I would say to anyone watching this is like, you have so many options as far as trainers, right? Just like you and me, there's going to be a different type of person who wants to train with you versus wants to train with me. All my other guests that I've had, all my trainer friends, all your trainer friends, you know, there's just so many different options. And now it's to the point where it's like there's really no excuse. Like, just get a trainer. If they don't quite jive with you, it doesn't mean that either one of you is a bad person. It just means that you need to find somebody else.
Yeah.
And there are really tons and tons of options.
Yeah. And I'll be the first person, like, just networking in general. Like I've met a lot of people, right? Like virtually and in person, and just like in my travels, I always try to go to a gym or work out somewhere when I'm on vacation. So I meet people, right? Like we all do.
Yeah.
And I try to keep those connections because, and I'm have no shame. And if somebody comes to me and is like, this isn't working, but if I have another person in mind that they can go to, another trainer, or I am certainly going to send them their way, because it's not doing me any good. It's not doing them any good. So I ultimately want the best for that person. Right. So there's been people in New York City where I would call him my mentor. Like when I entered this industry, he's been there. He's kind of like taught me the ropes and kind of given me like the ins and the outs of it. And there's been multiple people in the city that are like, I need somebody in person in New York. And I'm like, here you go. Like one of the best in the business. Like, and I've sent a lot of people his way. And I think that's just respect in the industry, which I think can be lacking sometimes. And like, just, you know, swallow your pride. And if it doesn't work out with somebody, that's not to say that you're a bad trainer or you're not good at what you do. It's just, like you said, the jive isn't there.
Right. And that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Jocelyn, I know you're an athlete. What's your background with athletics, and do you train a lot of athletes, or more weekend warrior types, or?
Yeah. So I played field hockey and lacrosse in high school, and then I played Division II lacrosse. So that was kind of like my sport growing up. Born and raised in Baltimore. So like lacrosse is like ingrained in your head. I've trained a lot of lacrosse players just in my coaching days, and then, you know, meeting players and stuff like that. So I would say, like, if I'm going to train an athlete, it would 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a lacrosse player. But my client base now is like all over the place. Like I don't just train like the former college athlete. I train 50-year-old women who want to just stay in shape and continue that healthy lifestyle. I have 20-year-olds that are like, have me do anything and I'll do it. I've got people that come from like really bad injuries and just want to move, but move safely. So I feel like very common with what your niche is like people that just, they're not looking to be sore the next day, but they also don't want to sit on their couch 7 days a week. So I've got a kind of and it keeps it interesting because I program differently for every client. Obviously, every client interaction is different. Every session is different. And that keeps it super interesting from week to week, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. A little bit of everything. Give us we'll kind of wind down. Give us your sort of overall training philosophy. I know everyone's different, but there's got to be some sort of like core philosophy, like where you come from as far as mindset goes. And then tell us about your programs and how to contact you and everything.
Yeah. So my philosophy, and we touched on it a bit earlier, is my ultimate goal is to help you find the best version of yourself. So whatever that means, if you want to be a better version of yourself for your kids, if you want to be a better version of yourself for your significant other, for yourself, whatever that is, I'm going to help you find that. So I think that we all ultimately need to move. movement is key. And I ingrain that in my clients' heads. Is like, I can't tell you who you want to be, and I can't tell you where you should be. That's you. I'm just going to help you along the way. And I think that is really well received from my clients, because I don't come to sessions and I don't yell at you, and I don't ask crazy things of you. Like, I'm very realistic in a sense that, like, if you come to me that day and you're sore and we're supposed to, your lower body sore and we're supposed to do the lower body, we're going to switch it. Like, I'm not going to put you through the ringer. That's not how life is.
Right.
So I think it's just finding the best version of yourself, and I will help you do that. And that's mentally, that's physically, that's emotionally. I think trainers take on a lot more than just helping people work out, especially with clients that have been with you for a long time. So I would say that's my philosophy. My programs, I have a website. So allinwithjocelyn.com is my website, and you can find like all of the information there. That's also my Instagram handle. I don't have Facebook. And yeah, that's pretty much it. In person, virtual, all of that good stuff. But
nice.
If I can't help you, I will certainly lead you in the right direction. Nice.
All in with Jocelyn. Cool. I like that. Well, Jocelyn, thank you so much for joining me today. Health in the Real World. Jocelyn Gebhardt, hopefully we can get you as a triple guest coming up sometime soon. But thanks for coming back.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.